Hi all, so this is just a short video about the Vicar's Relief Fund, or the VRF, just sort of about the processes and some of the commonly asked questions that we get around it. For anyone who doesn't know, the VRF is a small grant giving program that we have, so we can help provide small grants to help people access accommodation or prevent eviction. I'll come back to those in a minute, but I just want to share my screen. So sort of with the VRF, if you come onto frontlinenetwork.org.uk and you come across and you click here where it says Vicar's Relief Fund, this page is the first place you really want to come if you want any information about the Vicar's Relief Fund, about what it is we fund, how to apply. If you've put in an application and you've maybe got any questions about it, you can see there's quite a bit of information here, and there's sort of an FAQ section down the bottom, and I'll go through some of those sort of as we go through. But sort of as I said, it's a small grant giving program to sort of help people access accommodation and prevent eviction. In order to apply, you need to be a paid frontline member of staff. So that's quite wide ranging. So it can be sort of outreach workers, drug and alcohol workers, citizens advice, supporting housing, or workers. But you do need to be a paid frontline worker. We cannot accept applications from general members of the public or from service users themselves. You also need to be registered on our Flexi Grant system. So if you're not already, if you come to this page and you scroll down to here where it says, how do I apply? Click on register. And that will take you through to here. It's our privacy statement just for the portal that we use. So if you scroll and read through this, it's just about the information that we collect and how we use it and how we store it. So have a read through that and then click on continue. You'll then get taken through to this page. And this page, it isn't the registration form and it isn't the grant application form, but we still need you to do this. So if you complete this information and click on register, what will then happen is you'll get an email to the email that you've provided, and you need to click on the link that's in there. You click on the link and then you log in, and then you want to go to application portal, which will be on the top left, and then select new user registration and fill that form in. Once you've filled that form in, it will then come back to us. And please give us 5 working days to be able to process that registration form. Once we've processed it, we'll email and get back to you to let you know about it. Once it's been processed and we accept it, at that point, you'll be able to come back to Flexi Grant and access the grant application form. So you can either just come back and click sort of log in, or if you can't remember where it is or find it again, just come back to how do I apply and click log in here. So what do we provide funding and grants for? So if we come here, like I said, it's access and accommodation and preventing eviction. So access and accommodation, deposit, rent and advance, bond, emergency or temporary accommodation, and ID if someone needs some ID to be able to access accommodation. And preventing eviction, so rent arrears, service charge arrears, debt relief order, or bankruptcy fees. Please note that if you are applying for preventing eviction, we need to see that there's an eviction notice or a notice to quit that has been given. This is because we can only help with sort of rent arrears or service charge arrears when there is an immediate threat of eviction. We aren't able to help with a build-up of arrears, or before this point, we can only help once there is that immediate risk to eviction. How much can you apply for? So £500 is the maximum amount that we will issue to one client in a 12-month period. This can be more than one grant. So say, for example, if you applied to get someone some form of ID and then a little bit further down the line, you then needed help to get a deposit, you could come back to us, for example. Please note though that we'll pay up to £350 for preventing eviction and £500 for access and accommodation. If you're asking for more than these amounts, your application needs to make it really clear why your client has exceptional circumstances and sort of why we should go above these amounts. The reason we have a £500 limit is because we want to be able to help as many people as possible. If you need more than £500, so let's say, for example, someone needs a deposit and that's £700 and you're applying to us for 500, you need to make it clear in the application where the other 200 is coming from. So is it a discretionary housing payment? Is it your service is able to cover that £200? Do they have savings? Do they have friends or family who are able to help them out? We need to see where the rest of that money is going to come from. And also with preventing eviction grants, please be realistic. If there is a substantial, a grant from us might not make any difference. So please be realistic when you're applying for us. But if you come here, you can see there's some other questions about things that we apply for. So we do help with private tenancies, debt relief orders and bankruptcy, we do help with. Hoarding and decluttering, we do help with. If you are looking for help that we don't provide and we don't cover, Turn to Us is a really, really good place to look. Their database is really good and really well informed and has a load of different grants on there. If it's white goods, recommend Glasspool and go in to them. When you're going through the application form and you've put what it is that you're applying for, there'll also be a bit about backs and bank details. It's really important that this is filled out because this, if successful, this is where payment will go. So please make sure that these bits of information are correct. Also, please, it's important to note that we can only pay to organisations or to the landlord. We don't pay to service users directly. So please be aware of that when you're putting in your application. If you are a government agency, we can provide a check. So if that applies to you, please let us know. And that is something that we can do. Also, when completing an application, there's a consent form that needs completing. So if we just open up the consent form here, the first thing you need to do is read the bit down here. So this is the data protection privacy notice. So this is just about what the data is that we collect and what we do with it. So it's really important that that is read and understood. And then when it comes to consent, there's two ways that we get consent. So if you're able to meet with service user and client in person, then this first bit can be filled out. So they need to put their name here and their address in here. These two boxes need to be ticked and then they can sign and date it here. If, however, due to COVID, you're not able to meet with them in person due to social distancing or quarantining, we can take verbal consent. So in that case, this part of the application form needs to be filled out. These three boxes need to be ticked. The name of the service user goes in here. Date and time that consent was obtained goes in here. And your signature goes there. It's really important that the consent form is completed in full. Otherwise, we will not be able to process the application. Yeah, and we do reject applications when consent forms are not completed. So once all of that's done and you submit the application, it comes back to us. Please allow us 5 working days to process it. We cannot fast track applications, so please don't get in touch asking us to do so because we are not able to. But once we've processed it, it may be unsuccessful, and there's a number of reasons why that might be. So, for example, they may be ineligible, so they're not homeless or at risk of homelessness. Application isn't for something that we offer. evidence wasn't provided. So for example, like I said, if someone is at risk of eviction, we need to see that. So we need to see that eviction notice or that notice to quit. It's really important. Consent form was not completed, for example. Also, sometimes we do reject applications due to funding. We don't have funding to approve every application that we get. So there are times when we do have to reject applications just on the basis of funding. But the more evidence that you put in your application and the clearer it is, the stronger chance it has of being approved. So please make sure that applications are as clear and strong as possible. If it is successful, you may see current stage offer when you log back in, and that just means that it has been successful and we are processing it, and payment will be made to the bank details that were provided in the original application. Once it is successful and we have paid, we then need to see some evidence about what that grant was spent on. So if you come to evidence and then you click on what evidence should you send to us, click on this upload an evidence. And this is a really, really good page as it spells out what acceptable evidence is and how to do it. So if we scroll down to the bottom, you'll see this table here that has acceptable forms of evidence. So for example, here you can see access and accommodation and what is acceptable. If we go down, you can see things around ID costs. So copy the receipt when the application's been paid for, preventing eviction, so arrears. So that really spells out sort of the evidence that we need. And then if we scroll back up to how to upload it, you want to log back into FlexiGrant, click on My Applications and find the application that you're uploading evidence for, and then click on Reporting. And if you just follow these instructions, that will show you how to upload that evidence. And it's really important that we get that evidence. If we don't get the evidence, we will suspend accounts. So if we suspend an account, that means that you can no longer put in any applications to us, and we won't unlock it or reactivate it until that evidence has been provided. We do this, so please make sure that that evidence is provided to us in a timely manner. If you are struggling to provide it for whatever reason, please get in touch with us and let us know. And then we'll be able to sort of talk to you and sort something out. If we don't hear from you, then we will suspend the account. If you do need to get in touch with us about evidence or about something that isn't here, I would recommend coming here and having a look first. But if the answer's not here, there's two ways to get in touch with us. So the first one is email, so vrf@stmartinscharity.org.uk. And there is a number here, which is voicemail only, but emails are prioritized over the voicemail number. So it is better to email us. Once you email us, please give us some time to respond. We do get a lot of emails. We try and get through them as quick as we can, but we do get a large number of emails that sometimes take us some time to get through. So if you have emailed us, please give us a couple of days to get back to you, and we will get back to you as quick as we can. But like I said, a lot of the information is contained within these pages. So I really would recommend coming here. If you've got any questions, if any of your colleagues have any questions, or any organizations that you work with, here is the first place to come to find out anything about the VRF. And then if there's anything that's not covered in here, please get in touch with us and let us know. And we will help in any way that we can. Thank you.